It is 13 GMT, that's 3 p.m. in Gaza. Just under an hour ago, as we were speaking to our correspondent in Gaza, an Israeli air raid targeted positions right behind him, striking residential buildings near the Kuwait Hospital in the southern city of Rafah. 4 people were killed and dozens injured in the strike. Let's replay the moment.
The remaining population in the area gets to be displaced, and this is the tragedy of every airstrike, causing more problem and forcing more Palestinians into displacement, which can, of course, mount the pressure on healthcare facility as well as evacuation zone as we're getting into. Oh my God, did you hear that? Oh my God. Oh, that's the hospital, that's the hospital. That's the hospital. Oh my God. Are you guys hearing this? Are you guys hearing this? All the debris. Oh my God. No, this is really bad. This is bad. Are you guys seeing this? This is right behind the hospital right now. Oh my God. استنى يا بابا لا حبيبي. امشي على الخيمة. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Are you guys seeing? Yes, as you see, this is a huge, dark cloud of smoke. This is what we were expecting for 5 days. This drone did not leave the sky of this area, flying at a low level, and I think it was marking a target of more residential homes. People now are rushing to the site just to see if there are people. I guess we're looking at a tragedy right now. It's causing a chaos. You see people are running away from the site of the explosion. There were multiple massive airstrikes right at the vicinity of the Kuwaiti Hospital. You see people are panicking. They can't even walk. This is really bad. This is, you see, people are rushing now down the road. This is multiple residential homes, and we're hearing there were people inside those homes that were targeted. There are homes. These were homes full of evacuees and displaced Palestinians. At this particular location, more than 3 residential homes completely destroyed. You see, this is exactly what we've been talking about. There is no safe place in Gaza at all. No safe place in Gaza. No place more safe than the other. Even the vicinity of this hospital, this small-sized hospital, became a target of those relentless airstrikes. That's exactly what we describe. Every word describing these airstrikes being relentless, aggressive, and brutal.
Hani Mahmoud reporting to us there just an hour ago. We're going to go back to Hani, who is live for us now in southern Gaza. And Hani, it was a pretty frightening scene just over an hour ago to all of us watching this here in the safety of the newsroom in Doha. And I can only imagine what it was like for you and your team and everybody there. Just bring us up to date on what's been happening since the last time we spoke.
Yes, Hazem, just only 50 minutes separates the first attack and the second one. Just within the past 5 minutes, another massive airstrikes, but at this time right at the borderline, that's further southern western side of Rafah city, close to the Egyptian border, which is not far from here. We're talking about a 20 minutes drive from the location of the hospital. But another major relentless mass bombardment, more than five airstrikes at one time happened right at the side, the southern western side of Rafah city, and only 50 minutes separates the first attack from the second one. But the first attack, as everybody was watching live, we're talking about a mosque and two residential buildings were completely destroyed, with large number of people brought to the hospital with critical injuries. We're talking about a little over 25 people with the critical injuries brought to the hospital, and within just the past few minutes, ambulances, paramedics started transferring them to other medical centers and hospitals in Rafah, to a Najjar hospital and to Gaza European Hospital, as they are mid-size and larger size hospitals, well equipped and better for medical intervention to save those who can survive those relentless airstrikes. But so far, we're talking about 4 bodies were taken from the hospital in a quick funeral procession to a nearby burial sites. The drone is still hovering at a low level over the sky of this area and keep circling it as it did within the past hour and within the past few days, constantly doing this, which indicates there might be more bombings going to happen, as we've seen within the past hour.
And Hani, as we've been saying, where you are in southern Gaza is already a very densely populated area of the Strip because of so many Palestinians who've been displaced from their homes and forced to move south. So it just reminds us again, as you said there in your report a little bit earlier, there really is no safe place anywhere in Gaza right now, certainly not southern Gaza by the looks of it.
Yes, well, not only there is no safe place, but there is nowhere place to go right now. This is the last point people have evacuated to. After this, we're talking about a whole new story going to happen. People have no other choice. If they are kept pushed into this area and squeezed under heavy bombardment, we don't have any other choice but to cross over to the Egyptian side, which seems to be the Israeli strategy and tactic to keep pushing and squeezing displaced Palestinians at this particular area. And it's also very consistent with what people have expressed all the past weeks, the frustration and the anger that they had at the Israeli narrative that has been largely very vague, contradictory and confusing when it comes down to designated safe area, because what we just seen in the past hour has proven unequivocally that there is no safe place, and the whole narrative about evacuation zones and areas that people could move to avoid getting bombed in the central part or the northern part of Gaza is largely false and has been proven inaccurate, as people, particularly displaced Palestinians in the southern part, have been largely the victims of those unpredictable fallen bombs on their homes, not only killing them but destroying the very shelters that they took as a refuge, targeting every means of life in here. Gradually, Rafah turned into a large refugee camp, but more profound is becoming a death zone right now, as people who are displaced and hungry and thirsty and traumatized are getting bombed and torn into pieces. One person just described the scene near the site of the 2 residential homes and the mosques that were targeted earlier at this hour. He removed the flesh from a wall across the mosque that was destroyed. Somebody ran over the rooftop of another residential home, picked up body parts that were thrown onto the rooftop. This is the intensity the brutality of those airstrikes. And largely, we're talking about the majority of the injuries who came to the hospital are all women and children. It's just watching those fallen bombs and hearing the frightening sound of it is so scary. Just imagine what it does to small bodies of children and weak body of women here.
Yeah, unimaginable scenes there. Appreciate all of your reporting for you and your team.
Still bringing more injuries.
Hani, we're going to stay with this a little bit because it looks like there's more activity right now, more ambulances going in to that scene where those explosions occurred just over an hour ago. Just talk us through some of what we're seeing there.
More ambulances and paramedics are bringing back injuries from the side of the targets of earlier at the past hour at the vicinity of the Kuwait Hospital. We talking about a mosque and 2 residential homes were targeted, completely destroyed with 5 massive bombs. But just within the past 10 minutes, another massive multiple airstrikes took place at the southern western side of Rafah city. That's very close to the Egyptian borders. And those ambulances are bringing more injuries from that side of the targets. We're trying to get more updates on the number of people who were injured in that area, in that massive airstrikes, and the number of people who have been killed. And there, soon enough, we're going to be getting inside the hospital and get more updates and numbers of the people who have arrived to the hospital, either in ambulance or, as we've seen earlier, they're brought pieces and in blankets.
Hani, we're going to leave it there for now. Thank you. Hani Mahmoud reporting to us there from Rafah.